Well, as I predicted on Monday, the floods have soon been relegated to little more than a byline, but the problems that remain are mammoth. I note there is some relief of the beautiful central Crescent Head, which is on the mid-north coast, the beautiful spot there, Crescent Head, and until yesterday, they'd been cut off like an island for 12 days. Water all around them on all four sides. The surf club's inflatable rescue boats delivered the town's basic supplies, but the community of Crescent Head really lifted, came together, but several families have lost their homes and livestock. The SES were coordinating with the surf club, helping with everything. Evacuations, pharmaceuticals, food and fuel. Thankfully, the floodwaters are receding, the road into the town of Crescent Head opened, and the community are getting back to business. But the problem's the same for many. Rural families have got to fix properties, fences, they've got to restock. And remember, this is the fourth whammy for many people. Bushfires last year, followed by floods, then coronavirus, and now floods again. Susan Templeman is the federal Labor MP for Macquarie. She's been in the middle of all this many times. Bushfires last year and now floods. Are these people forgotten? This is an electorate named in honour of Major General Lachlan Macquarie, who was the Governor of New South Wales from 1810 to 1821. But it covers the Hawkesbury and Nepean rivers, the Blue Mountains, the Wallamai National Park, Lake Burragarang, Cox's River, the Warragamba Dam, and the towns of Bilpin, Blackheath, Falconbridge, Glenbrook, Katoomba, Lower Portland, Mount Wilson, Windsor. Put simply, they have copped it. Susan Templeman joins me. Susan, thank you for your time. You wrote to tell me you were surrounded by water, flooded homes, fields under 3 metres of muddy water, and people trying to come to terms with what was coming next. What has come next, Susan?
It's a big, muddy mess at the moment, and there are areas that are still with water, so people can't get on to check out exactly what the damage is, all the way up the Colo and McDonald rivers. It's a smelly mess as well, which makes it particularly hard when people are out there cleaning up yards, trying to get water out of their homes. It's really heartbreaking to see.
You and I talked last year about the bushfires and farmers and residents who'd lost their businesses. You said there were lots of good announcements, but not matched by the facts. Did they ever establish that National Bushfire Recovery Fund, which they promised?
Well, I think it might exist, but we certainly haven't seen anything that has hit the ground that would have provided mitigation for this disaster, nor is there anything that we're seeing for mitigation for future bushfires.
I spoke to Labor Murray's Watt last night about this $4 billion National Disaster Recovery and Mitigation Fund. They've all got the same name, a National Bushfire Recovery Fund, a National Disaster Recovery and Mitigation Fund. Supposedly $200 million per financial year to be spent on natural disaster recovery and mitigation projects. Is yours one of the 70 applications for better evacuation routes in the area?
I haven't seen the applications, but we have such a need for evacuation routes. That was one of the big issues, that people were worried they couldn't get people out fast enough. We need not just bridges, but we need the roads that mean you can traverse the land that's all
But you're saying none of this money's been spent?
We've not seen a cent of that money spent. And I gather that it's just sitting there earning interest rather than being invested in the community, which was what it was designed for, especially a community like this that suffers fires and floods.
But Susan, how do people get back on their feet when they've got waste up to their knees, washing machines in trees, farmers have lost their livestock, houses are destroyed? I mean, no matter where you live, how do they start again?
It is awful to look at. I've got turf farmers and vegetable farmers who are asking themselves that question: what steps do they take to get going? There are still dead animals lying on the ground, carcasses to be removed, rubbish that has mice in it. So it's the cleanup's got to happen really fast as the water recedes, and we really need to see government assistance. We've seen announcements, but as yet we don't know the detail.
Well, what's the most urgent need, Susan? What's the most urgent need? You know this electorate backwards.
Getting the clean-up happening is urgent, but also telling businesses how they're going to survive before they can start earning money again. Turf and vegetables, that's going to be months and months and months before they get a crop.
Dreadful.
So they need to be reassured they can pay their staff, keep them to help
Yes,
with the cleanup. And that's the biggest economic hit
Absolutely.
that I can already see us having.
Well, listen, we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks. We hope they've made some progress. When I say my thoughts are with you, I know that's pretty useless, but people out there viewing, our thoughts are with you. We're just, like you, powerless to know what to do. But thank you for your time. We'll talk again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Alan. I know you love this place. Appreciate it.
Not at all. That's Susan Templeman, the Federal Labor member for Macquarie.